Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Today's fleshing day down at my shop, and it just so happens that my capes are still about half frozen. So while I'm waiting on my capes to thaw out, figured I'd make a video right quick. First off, I want to tell y'all thank you so much for getting me over 8,000 subscribers. Anybody that has not subscribed already, shame on y'all because it's free and all you're doing is helping me by being my buddy and supporting my channel. There's no reason why you should subscribe other than the fact that you just haven't pressed that little button yet. So if you subscribe, all it does is show my videos to more people, which generates me more views, which generates me more money, which helps me to be able to make a living because everything is so expensive. So, that being said, appreciate y'all that have subscribed and appreciate y'all for watching that have not subscribed, even if you haven't subscribed anyway. But hit that subscribe button, really. Seriously. This video I wanted to make about how things have changed so much from the time when I was a little kid to the present day. And I named the video the way that I did because I'm sitting here listening to the radio this morning. Don't know if y'all listen to Clint Black or used to, you know, back in the 90s. That was my old school country music. So I'm sitting there fleshing out a deer cape this morning. Clint Black's on the radio. I'm sitting there jamming out to some, 1990s Clint Black because that's, kind of what I roll with. And I'm sitting there listening to this song talking about these are the good old days. Don't know if y'all ever heard that before. Some of the younger guys probably have not. Y'all Morgan Wallen guys probably know who Clint Black is. You need to look him up. He's awesome. Anyway, he's sitting there talking about how these are the good old days. And you never really think about that until you think about it. But I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine several years ago at a hunting club. It was really relevant to that song in a way. We're talking about how he was wishing that hunting clubs were the way that they were when he was a kid, and how it used to be so much fun, to go to the hunting club and hang out and hunt. Everybody talked about hunting. Everybody ate together. You sat around the campfire and told stories, and that's just what you did, And he said, now, everything is so much different. And well, to a point, it is. And we started kind of getting into that, breaking that down about how things have changed because people's idea of convenience and comfort have changed. But the reality is all of the kids that are at that hunting club, they still see it the same way we did when we were kids. They don't know any different. So the reality is whatever we make it for them. And now I don't have kids. And that's what I was telling them. I said, it's hard for me to have an opinion about what you think you need to do as far as a hunting club situation, but in my experience, because I was a kid once, believe it or not, as you can see by the YouTube thumbnail where I was much cuter than I am now. I don't know. Y'all may think I'm still kind of decent looking. I try to keep up my appearance. But anyway, we were talking about how kids, they don't know any better. They're still out there throwing the football and kicking the football, and they just want to go hunting that afternoon or hunting that morning. They want to know what time they're leaving. They want to know what they're going to wear and where they're going to hunt and what they're going to see. And they don't get involved in the hunting club politics. And the fact is, when I was a little kid, those politics were there then too. I remember all the adults arguing about money, arguing about stuff. I remember them nitpicking, talking about this guy don't do this right, this guy don't do that right. And I remember thinking, man, who cares? We're at the greatest place on the planet. We're at the hunting club, and it's time to go deer hunting. So why in the world are y'all wasting y'all's time worrying about all this? Well, now that I'm older, I understand. The stuff involved in all of that, it's necessary. Stuff has to be done to be able to maintain the money, to maintain the club, to maintain the roads, different kind of stuff like that. But it's up to the adults to make sure that the kids get that experience that we used to enjoy when we were kids. And, it kind of goes, as an adult, it kind of goes on into the world of our jobs and our work and our government and our politics and social media. And I made a video a while back on social media and deer hunting, and the I think it was social media and the outdoorsman or something like that's the name of the video. I'll put a link in the description if you hadn't watched it already. I watched it again this morning and it was like, I couldn't even remember half the stuff that I said, but it was a pretty cool video, even if I do say so myself. But it's kind of cool now that I've gotten older and I can look back from, when I was a kid and the way that I used to think about things. And since, I had surgery, it makes me slow down a little bit. And rather than try to think like an adult all the time and try to be wide open, even though my ADHD kind of keeps me always doing something. I'm always involved in something. But at the same time, you really get more of an appreciation. If you slow down a minute, you kind of realize that the world really hasn't changed all that much. Things in the world have, but even though there's new ways of doing things, new inventions, new ideas, stuff like that, you still have got the same general problems. And if you go back and watch old black and white TV shows and stuff, which me and my wife do all the time because we don't pay for cable. So, we've got rabbit ears, and we sit there and watch Andy Griffith and MASH and every other, TV show from back whenever it was. And every episode, you see the same repetitive problems that we have now. It may not be the exact same subject, but most of it is older folks talking about how the younger generation are a bunch of idiots or don't know what they're doing and are going to ruin the world. Now, it could definitely be argued that the world is in much worse condition than it used to be just in general, but at the same time, everybody has more money than they used to have. Used to everybody had it hard. It was rough. It wasn't just stressful. People weren't really stressed. They helped each other to survive. There was no money. People were broke. And in a way, maybe that was a little bit more helpful because people depended on each other. Now nobody depends on anybody but themselves. And what that ends up with is a whole bunch of loneliness, a whole bunch of depression. People are rich. They got money coming out their ears, no time to spend it because they're working all the time, and completely miserable because they don't have any friends, And it sucks because they ain't got time to hang out with nobody. They ain't got time to do nothing. They're just mad all the time because they're having to work. Now, in my opinion, I don't think that we were made to sit in a desk all day long or sit in an office or work every day or anything else. Now, you have to if you want to make money, obviously. But you also have to be really careful to split your time and make sure that, what you're doing is relevant for yourself and for your life. Like we're talking about these are the good old days. Well, to all these kids running around, these are the good old days. When they get older, they're going to look back and think, man, I remember back when there was good times. And we're sitting here complaining about how horrible the times are. Well, we're living in the same world that they are. Only difference is what you choose to buy, what you choose to finance, how much debt you decide you want to get into or whatever. The younger generation has grown up on electronics. They've grown up with different technology. And when it comes right down to it, we've got elderly people that say all you ever do is stay on your phone. Nobody needs a phone that is a computer. And then you'll have the same person want you to get on Amazon and order them some toilet paper because it's cheaper. And when you say, well, why don't you just get you a phone that you can order this from? They say, because I don't need a phone that is a computer, which they also don't have a computer. So, it kind of goes around in a big old circle. And, you can go back as many generations as you want, and every new invention came with the consequences of the older generation trying to talk about how it was just going to mess up the entire scheme of everything. Like me and my wife choose to live extremely minimalist. Now, we're not uncomfortable. We like to get things and buy things just like anybody else does. But we also live way, way within our means. We don't spend a whole lot of money on anything that's ridiculous. We just like to enjoy our time. So to me, they say time is money. To me, I would pay for time. So, I like to make as much as I need, and then I like to have the rest of it to spend time. Now, I do think that convenience has ruined a lot of just people in general. I think that it has ruined work ethic. I think it has ruined anybody having a sense of accomplishment. I think that there's so much convenience that people have just gotten plain lazy. And I also believe that if people had to do a little bit more work to accomplish something, I think that feeling of accomplishment would actually make you feel better about yourself at the end of the day. Now, most of y'all that know me probably know me from doing this right here. I imagine that most of y'all that have subscribed probably did it because of taxidermy videos. That seems to be, the basis of my channel. But my channel is about the outdoors in general, and it's about just me documenting what I love and showing people how they can live kind of their best life. I don't like to see when people work their life away. And ever since I had surgery, man, it just changed my perspective of what's important in this life. And so, make sure that when you're getting home from work or when you're off on the weekends, try not to sit around too much. Try to get up and get out and go do what you need to do. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is as we get older and as we mature, we don't need to discount the fact that younger generations don't know the difference in the world that they're living in compared to the world that we grew up in. The world they're living in is their world. They don't know anything any different. So they're going to remember these as the good old days, which we should too, and we should learn to adapt not to the world. The Bible says to be in the world, but not of the world. So we have got to live here, but we don't have to conform to bad things necessarily. He gave us this world to be able to thrive and to be able to help one another and be able to enjoy ourselves and have joy in life and to live. There's no reason to be mad every single day because the government doesn't do what you want them to do, and politics don't do what you want them to do, and religion is different than it used to be. You can say all of those things, but the Bible stays the same, God stays the same, the message stays the same. And one thing that our pastor said Sunday in church, he said that God's love is unconditional, but God's blessings for our life are not always unconditional. We have got to make motions toward trying to achieve our goals, therefore receiving our blessings. Because if you're going to do what God tells you to do, that means you have to do. You have to get up. You can't give up, and you can't blame other generations. You can't blame the president. You can't blame anybody, your parents, anybody. It's up to you. And it's up to you to make sure that you do what you need to do to receive those blessings. Our pastor also made the comment that one of the only things that stands between the life that we are trying to live for ourselves and the life that God has planned for us, that's full of all these blessings and all of these great things that we never think that we could accomplish, is discipline. Being able to get up every day and make ourselves stay on that straight and narrow path that He has provided for us. It's not easy to do, but it's necessary. If you get lazy, which I think the world has gotten now, I don't think that they're capable of ever achieving a lot of these things where they can find happiness, because it's just too much trouble. And you hate that because there's so much opportunity, and there will always be opportunity. I mean, like I was saying, people make more money than they've ever made. People are rich compared to the way they were 50 years ago. I mean, they're loaded. It seems like everybody is. And maybe more miserable than they've ever been. And it's their own fault. They've got the money to do what they need to do, but they spend all of it on ways to try and make themselves happy when what they actually need is more time, and more time dedicated to one another and family and faith and friends and church and whatever, But even if you're not a churchgoer, I mean, there has to be an understanding that the world does not change as much as we make it out to change. I think that there's different trends and different fads, and they all come and go. But when I was 12 years old and we're pegging our jeans and wearing MC Hammer pants and singing Vanilla Ice music, do you think that our parents thought that, we were intelligent? I mean, that looked stupid. It looked really stupid. And looking back now, it just brings back good memories for us, But that's where the kids are going to be whenever they get to be our age, when they grow up. I mean, right now, if you're 20 years old, you're doing these things that we may think is stupid. But in reality, for you, it's just reality. I mean, it's your life. It's what makes you happy. It's what you enjoy. And it's what's popular. And being something that's popular does not necessarily make it bad. It just makes it different. And sometimes I think as adults and some of y'all elderly people out there, you don't want anything to change. And if you don't adapt with some of that change, then you're never going to be able to convince the younger generation why you see the benefit in some of the old ways. And I think that has been a lot of the problem with, hunting clubs, fishing, the outdoors community, where people are arguing and bickering. You got deer hunters that hate duck hunters and vice versa. You got crappie fishermen that hate turkey hunters and vice versa. And whatever everybody's doing if they're doing that, you should be doing this. Like, to me, I think duck hunting's stupid because it's during deer season. I hate it, and I've never even been, but I think it's stupid because why would you ever duck hunt when you could go deer hunting? But that's my opinion. I don't need to put that on Facebook and tell everybody that they're idiots. That's just what I think. But nowadays, there's people that actually take this stuff personally. Like, they will try to convince somebody that they are wrong because they are deer hunting or duck hunting instead of vice versa. And it goes with so many other things to the point to where people are mad when they go out in the woods because they just can't have their way. And it's gotten to the point now over here on public land next to the house. I mean, we've got guys shooting turkeys out from under each other, people walking up on each other, slinging gravel with trucks on other people's trucks. I mean, people are losing their minds, especially some of these guys coming from out of state, coming to hunt. Man, it's gotten plain ridiculous. I'm not a genius, and I don't even claim to be halfway intelligent. But I do believe that there is a lot of good in this world. And I think that people have gotten so caught up in focusing on the bad because that's what gets most of the publicity on TV and on social media, that I think that people just forget to look for the good. I think they get to looking for the bad, and all of a sudden that's all they see. It's like you got these blinders on and you don't notice the good anymore because you're just so focused on everything that's wrong. But I mean, hey, what do I know? I work by myself down here. I don't have to deal with anybody. So, all is good in the world in my little, makeshift shop here. But I do think that it has given me a perspective that I want to share, which is exactly why I'm making this video. Because, guys, I forgot that there was a world out there when I was working so much. And I mean, I'm talking about 80 to 100 hours a week, working 2 or 3 different jobs at a time, like trying to get this shop going, doing deer processing. I was a meat market manager, ran a hardware store, like different stuff, and was trying to just make as much money as I possibly could. And I forgot that there's a world out there that's not moving. It's like time almost stands still when you get out of that universe. It's like you go to the beach or something for that week, and I don't know, a lot of you guys don't live near the beach, but for us down here in Alabama, I mean, we go down to the beach, and that's where you just sit there and you just chill out and you listen to the ocean, and your mind kind of turns off, and you get to remember what it's like to not have to think. And that exists all the time. It's every day, everywhere. I think you just forget what it's like because as you get older, you create more responsibilities for yourself. And some of them, are stuff that you can't avoid. I mean, obviously, kids, stuff like that are responsibilities that you don't want to do without. But you also generate a lot of responsibilities for yourself that don't necessarily have to be responsibilities. And if you're at a point in your life right now to where you're miserable and you just don't know a way out, and it seems like your days are getting shorter and the work days are getting longer and your time off is getting shorter and you're more and more miserable, man, go sell something. If you have to sell your house and sell your vehicles, go sell them and buy something cheap and just start over again. Especially if you make all this killing tons of money. Imagine if you didn't have a house payment and didn't have a truck payment or a car payment, and could just go whenever you felt like it. You could just go on a vacation because you had money. I mean, even if you went for the weekend here or there and just left and just went somewhere for the weekend, go get you a cabin in the woods, just chill out and not have to worry about the bills that are coming in the next week or the next month or whatever. Take my word for it. I have let go of everything that I used to think was necessary and gone with everything that I realized was important. And it has changed my life. It's changed my perspective on life. And it's given me a reason to tell y'all that there's so much life out there that is just waiting for you to enjoy. And you don't have to be a little kid to do it. Just think back to when you was that little kid at the hunting club or that little kid on your granddaddy's bass boat, and you're sitting there enjoying the day, nothing else to think about. That day is still today, and those kids are still in this world today. So all that still exists. So try to fix your brain, and let's try to convince this younger generation why there's still so much good to look forward to. And we can get this thing turned around to where as these kids are growing up, at least they've got some kind of a hope for the future. Because right now, if you're trying to buy a house and trying to buy a truck, boy, it's going to be rough, especially if you're trying to duplicate what your parents have got, what your grandparents have got. You got to change your mindset. Starting to see it happening a little bit. People are starting to buy these tiny homes, buying little small cars to get better gas mileage and stuff. Like, I mean, it's smart. You want to make sure that you've got your life. Keep your life. Get rid of the stuff. Keep your life. So anyway, I said all of that to say this. If y'all see me making fishing videos all summer long, I'm going to throw in some taxidermy videos here or there. But I mean, there's only so many taxidermy videos that I can make on interesting things. I don't want to just make a video every day of me mounting a deer head. I mean, people get tired of that, just like I get tired of videoing it. So, you know, I like to fish and I like to hunt. And that's what this channel is all about, is me sharing what I do with y'all and being able to look back on it myself. Because I mean, a lot of this stuff, man, last night I was watching my wife catch bluegill off of a paddleboard. You know, I forgot all about making that video. And I was sitting there watching it last night. I told Christy, I said, I can't believe you were doing that. I would have been ticked off not being able to like do what I needed to do to catch as many fish as possible. She's out there trying to keep from falling off a paddleboard, you know, catching bluegill. But we love watching those videos after we've made them of ourselves. You know, it's just fun. But anyway, y'all don't be disappointed if you see a video that's not a taxidermy video. I put everything in playlists. So if you need to go and look, you know, if you just want to look at taxidermy stuff, go to the taxidermy playlist. I'll have everything filed under there. And you can just scroll through theirs and check it out if you want to. Some of my fishing videos and stuff, they're not great. I mean, I'm not the best, you know, video creator or whatever you call it, content creator. I think I'm getting a little bit better. I do need some better audio stuff, whatever, but I do this for me and I do it for y'all. I mean, I just enjoy sharing it. So, you know, please take it for what it is, enjoy watching it, and try to duplicate it, man. Y'all go out and enjoy yourself, you know. Share what you do. Comment below. Let me know what y'all like to do or what y'all videos y'all might like to see. In a few weeks, the brim are going on bed right now. Saw some the other day. So in a few weeks, I'm going to start doing some fly fishing. We got to put some brim in the freezer because I love eating bluegill. Anyway, y'all, hopefully this stuff is just about getting thawed out so I can work on it a little bit. So anyway, it's great talking to y'all. I hope that y'all enjoy this. If for no other reason, give you a little bit of motivation to get up off your butts, quit acting like a grouch, and go just have some fun for a change. Anyway, we'll see y'all in the next video.